what's like your daily process? Like maybe just for like a particular story. Like, do you wait for something to catch your attention and you go, okay, I know exactly what to do with this, right? This is old
Mhm.
hat at this point. Or are you looking for something unique and do you like shuffle through the day's news and find the right story, or do you just like how's it work? What's your process?
You know,
And
it's
without
it's
giving too much away, I don't want you to,
oh no, no,
spoil it.
this is no problem. I always start by reading a lot. Going through different sources. I have a whole bookmark bar with like probably 100 different political websites. I kind of just scan the headlines, and before I start reading, I'll just like copy and paste them all into a Google Doc, and then I'll go through and see which headlines look the most interesting to me, or I'll see if there's like a really big story on Twitter. And there's a couple of different criteria that I use in determining whether or not I want to do a video on it. First and foremost is it interesting to me? And second of all, can I actually do it justice? Like I can't justify doing a video on something if I can't really supplement it with my own commentary. Like if I'm just kind of regurgitating the article itself, there's no point in me covering that. But if I feel like I can lend additional context that's needed and it's interesting or entertaining, then I'll talk about it. So once I decide to do a particular video on something, I'll start with an article, and then as I'm reading the article, I'll kind of like go through and figure out which paragraphs I want to cite. And then there's always additional things that pique my interest. So maybe I want to look into this element of the article where, like, if I'm talking about an obscure like law that's being proposed in Nebraska, for example, and this lawmaker comes up, maybe I want to go browse his Twitter history real quick and see what's all there. See what else he said. So it takes me about, I want to say, maybe 2 hours to decide on what I want to do every single day because it's like my daily routine. So by the time I'm deciding, it takes me about 2 hours. Takes me another hour. Once I know what I want to talk about, it goes really quickly. But it takes me a while to kind of prep everything that I want to use. So I have different elements. Like I have I've got to have the text that I want to use, the particular quotes. Got to create sources for all of those. If I'm doing video, then I need to put the border around it just to kind of like save us from copyright from YouTube. Structure the way that I want to present this, what additional information I want to bring in, and then I will film it once I'm ready. And filming it takes usually, it depends. Some days, I have really bad days. Some days I have good days, but it takes anywhere from a half an hour to an hour for a particular video. Sometimes I'll film the same video like 3 or 4 times to see which take is the best. Just if it's the more you do it, like the repetition, I think helps. So usually my first take, the rough draft, never the best one. So I'll film it again. And then the editing process, I'll send that off to my husband, who's my full time editor. And then while
Nice.
he's working on that, I'll go to the next story if there is something. I've kind of changed my strategy to where YouTube, I feel like their algorithm has changed to where they prioritize quality over quantity. Thankfully, so I'm trying not to be like a content farm. Like if something isn't happening in a day, I'm just not going to do a video on that.
Oh, okay.
And so like my goal is, you know, usually 2 videos per day. Like that's what I strive for. But if I can't do 2 videos per day, it's no big deal because if there isn't two stories that really speak to me, then I can't do anything about that. I've got the thing about it is I have to be interested in a subject because if I'm not, then I think that comes through on camera. Like you could tell if I'm really bored talking about something,
Hmm.
or if I'm interested in the story, but then as halfway through prepping, I'm like, this is kind of boring. I feel like that comes across in the video. And one example is the video I released today about Tucker Carlson. I was really excited to talk about this story. And then I get on camera and I just kind of like lost all the luster. I'm like, I guess I don't care that much, but I already filmed.
Ah,
So
I got to go back and watch it with that context because I didn't get
yeah.
that at all. I watched it and I did not pick up on that.
Yeah.
Huh,
By the
that's
time I was
interesting.
like halfway through, I'm like, I'm losing interest in this. I mean, part of that is just like that's kind of baked in expectation because if you focus on something, like for me, I have a relatively short attention span. So my capacity to be like really fascinated by something is going to kind of be limited. So, halfway through, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm getting bored with this already. But, it depends. Most of the things that I talk about, I'm genuinely excited to talk about, because even if the story itself is old, I feel like I could bring in something new or make it entertaining enough to where I really am excited for people to see it. So my new philosophy is like, try to put out 2 videos per day, but at the same time, don't just like put out something for the sake of putting out something, because you basically want all of your videos to feel like your best work. And that's kind of what I'm striving for lately, is quality over quantity.